Every single clothing brand that has followed these steps in a long enough time horizon has seen a ton of success. I remember starting this business in 2014, 2015, thinking I needed to 10x where I was at from the beginning. I didn't have a framework to follow. The only thing I had was a ton of free Gary Vee content telling me to work harder. And I would spend my lunch break at the Allen, Texas library planning, reading, strategizing. And to be fair, I believe you need to put work in, you need to work hard. And so I did, but not everyone who works hard makes it or makes it far or fast. It wasn't until I realized that I could play this game for 50 years that I started to make moves in my business that my future self would thank me for. So it took me a while to figure this stuff out, but I'm going to give it to you so that you can implement it faster, learn from my mistakes. There's a phrase that comes to mind that I think will help y'all. Slow is fast and fast is smooth. If you need to, you can pause and kind of think about that for a second, right? So meaning you making strategic moves that pay off in months will allow you to go way faster down the line. It's like compounding interest. It just keeps growing and building into something that you didn't even think was possible. In this video, we're going to cover exactly how these strategies can work for your clothing brand, how long it will take you to get the point where you feel like you're growing fast, because there is a point at which you do, and break down how easy this is for you to actually implement today. You're also probably wondering, are there any real results or proof I can go off of to believe this guy? Yes, there is. Like this streetwear brand here, or this boutique here, or this boutique. I don't know how they're gonna pop up, but like here's some social proof just to kind of prove to you that this does work. One brand we took on completely changed the way that I thought about content. We started working with a new brand that didn't have any followers, barely posted on social media, and honestly didn't have an eye for good content creation. It was bad. I asked them how we were supposed to market these products if we really didn't have anything that was appealing to them or to their customers, and the owner quickly responded with, "We don't have to." They built their whole business on the relationships with other people and using other people's audiences to spread their message. He used their content, their audience, their language. The products were great, and now they had everyone else doing the work for them. They literally stepped back and let everybody else do the business for them while they just created great products. He structured the relationships so that there were 10 to 15 influencers per month creating content and an amazing offer, and then giving a percentage of everything that was sold back to that influencer. The new customer acquisition cost was low. So like to give an idea for a clothing brand, right? You're selling an average order value of 50, 75, 100 bucks or so. If you're around 25, 30 bucks for a new customer acquisition, like that's a great place to be. The margins are great, and there was also already built-in trust because it was like a referral to somebody else. Using AI and software has completely changed the way we approach content for smaller brands. So I was on a strategy call with a clothing brand a few weeks back, and they were telling me that they wanted to grow, like most brands do, but they couldn't figure out a way to give themselves an advantage in the marketplace. They kept comparing themselves to the big guys, the bigger brands. They were smaller than competitors and working extremely hard without any real traction. What I told them was to use leverage. I told them that they could either grow with people, processes, or software. They were honestly desperate at the point, so I broke it down for them like this. We need to be everywhere to everyone right now. We need the quality to be about 80% of what it used to be, but pump it up 10 times more than what they're doing now. We found the competitors that were doing really well on TikTok and then went through the 3 I's: imitate, iterate, innovate. We used a software called Repurposed IO and then started posting 3 times per day short form pieces of content. We reposted on Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, and YouTube Shorts. Now you can use the software and it's much faster, it's more efficient, and I think it's honestly like the best way to grow, but these platforms love when you post natively. So just as a side note here, if you can post natively and do it, then do that. Otherwise, Repurposed IO is extremely affordable. We are not affiliates with them. Just go check them out. We were going to create more content in 1 month than most brands do in an entire year. Once we worked that muscle out, we were going to come back and increase the quality with the quantity. And then we went back and forth and rinse and repeat. We're getting 100+ views per month, driving thousands of people to the site that not only purchased, but came back, joined our email list, SMS list, and cost $0. Literally, it did not cost a dime to do this to get hundreds of thousands of views. Hey, look, if you're a clothing brand owner and want a more personalized approach to growing your business profitably, then you can schedule a free 45-minute strategy session. The spots on the calendar are limited, so go schedule a call. Click the link in the description down below. Not hitting revenue goals, bills piling up, and without a strategic direction to go is about the lowest possible point that you can be in when you're starting a clothing brand. And I think almost everyone experiences this to some degree. In June, there was a brand I was talking to that had grown their business and started to plateau like most brands do when they hit those J months. So like January, July, June, the sales start to dip a little bit. It's just historic in that retail space. So sales dipped, their reach dropped, and so did their morale. Our conversation was honestly simple. They did a lot of the right things, but not enough people saw what they were doing, and their sales suffered, like a lot. We were down 30-40% month over month. In slower times, if you have a proven business model and you know your numbers, you can afford to spend more money on advertising to reach more people at a little bit less of a margin. So I suggested they increase their budget by 25%, and a week later, they saw results. They started to get back to previous numbers. We had to go and increase budget, but we did hit those numbers. So we continued to increase budget. They finally broke through. About 4 months later, just to give context for this video, or fast forward to today rather, and they're almost 10x more spend and hitting revenue goals in 7 days than it used to take them in a month. They followed a very simple framework that you can follow too. One, they used broad targeting. So open targeting, age, gender, location with their Facebook and Instagram ads. They used DCT ads, or dynamic creative testing, which allows you to set up multiple pieces of creative inside of your ads manager with 2 headlines and 2 primary texts, and Facebook basically takes all of those, jumbles them up, and says this is the best ad. So it allows you, for somebody with a smaller budget, to create a better looking ad without having to testing on so many different ad sets and so many different ads all within one campaign. And then the most important thing that they did was have an amazing offer mixed with great messaging. So they were a boutique focused on a very specific market with an amazing offer. They always did free shipping, and they had, each month they would do something that's a little bit different, BOGO, or they'd throw in a free gift or whatever. But they created an amazing offer around that messaging. They did broad targeting, they did DCT, and they literally spent a couple of hours in the ads manager a week and just continued to spin on what worked over and over again. Facebook ads can put gasoline on your fire and completely change your business overnight, but you have to set them up the right way. And most people teach ads generically, but not specific to clothing brands. And if you want a step-by-step approach to setting up your ads for your clothing brand, go watch this video right here next. All right, y'all, have a great rest of your day. I will see you next time. And P.S., please make sure you subscribe.